So in American Pie, these four teenagers, they like make this pact that they're gonna have sex with a girl like before the end of graduation, and and so the main character Jim, um, so the main character Jim is like this guy who's like really anxious around girls, but he sees an opportunity when this girl he likes, Nadia, says that she needs help with a class, and Jim Jim doesn't waste the opportunity to bring a girl to his room. And so Jim and his friends are talking about this this girl that's coming over, and his friend his friend Steve is like, "Oh, you gotta record the whole thing. You gotta record." So actually, I have to tell you that Nadia was like going from ballet practice or something, and so she has to like rush over to Jim's house after and change her clothes from the ballet costume to her study clothes. And Steve like sees the opportunity. He's like, "Oh, Jim, my boy, you gotta set up a camera and give us a private link to see this girl changing her clothes from the ballet costume to the study clothes." And this isn't something that Jim would usually do because he's like a really respectful boy, respectful with the ladies and stuff like that. And so, but Steve convinces him to put up a private link and set the camera up. And bro, what ends up happening is that so Jim leaves the room to let the girl get changed, and then and bro, the girl gets naked, bro, and she's naked in Jim's bed, and Jim wasn't gonna waste the opportunity to see her naked, and so he goes to his friend's house and watches the video of his crush naked in his bed. And bro, bro, Nadia is going through his magazines, and she's getting turned on, and she starts playing with herself, and the boys are like really turned on by it, and and Steve is like, "Jim, my boy, you gotta go over there and you gotta seduce this girl. You gotta be like, oh, you look like you could use a hand." And bro, Steve's like the horn dog of the group, boys. He's a bad influence. But Steve, um, Jim goes back to his room, and he says, "Hey Nadia, you look like you could use a hand." And Nadia's like, "What? Get out of here! I'm naked and trying to get myself off, and you're barging in like you own the place." And even though he kind of did own the place, he was like really apologetic. He's like a typical nice guy, usually so respectful of the ladies. And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to barge in, and I'll leave you alone now." But Nadia is like, "No, don't leave. You saw me naked. Now I want to see you naked." And bro, and like, yeah, Jim does a little strip tease for the girl, and it turns out that like he has like he doesn't last very long. Like he just sees the girl naked, and he just comes in his pants, and the girl just gets really turned off like after coming in his pants. 2 times. The girl's like, okay, I can't do this. You're too quick. And we find out that the link was sent to the whole school, not just Jim's friends, and so Nadia gets kind of pissed off at Jim, and she loses her scholarship to her college and moves high schools, and so Jim was really Steve was like a really bad influence on Jim, getting him to get Nadia in trouble. And in the movie, there's this guy named Oz, and so like what ends up happening is that the girl he likes asks him to prom, Jessica, and he's like, "Oh, totally, let's go to prom together," and then like Steve is like egging him on when the girl leaves. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna totally get laid uh, after prom," and Oz is like, "Oh yeah, for sure," and Jessica overhears them, and Jessica feels like she's being used, and bro, in the end, they go to prom together, and Oz is like, "I just wanted to say that I don't need to get laid tonight because I already feel like I've won, even without the sex." And bro, when that man Oz, when he decided to discipline himself, that's when Jessica got attracted to him, boys, and so we need to discipline ourselves, boys. So in this movie, there's this couple named Kevin and Vicky, and like Kevin's like the guy who's like really been pressuring this girl into an intimate relationship, and in this one scene, Vicky's like, "I think it's time to take our relationship to the next level," and Kevin's like, "Oh, for sure, I've been waiting for this moment for so long," but it turns out that she's not talking about sex. She's talking about telling each other that they love each other, and Kevin's like so bummed out, bro. He's like, "Oh, damn, I really wanted to get laid," and he was talking about how "I love you" is just words, but sex is like a symbol of their love or something, and Vicky wasn't buying it, bro. And so Vicky and her friend, so I realized that Kevin's girlfriend was actually named Heather, and Vicky is actually Heather's friend. And so Heather and Vicky are having a conversation, and Vicky is like, Vicky is the one who's more promiscuous and spontaneous, and Heather is like the good girl, but Vicky kind of convinces Heather that she doesn't want to move on to college without this experience and stuff like that, and having to develop this experience with people she doesn't have a connection with at college. And so Heather is like convinced to do it with Kevin at on prom night. And so they do it on prom night, but they know that they can't be together because they're going to like universities across this like multiple states away from each other, and so they're not going to see each other after high school, and so they're okay with splitting after they do it. And bro, in American Pie, Paul Finch is like the one who's like extremely introverted and like really anxious around women, but he makes friends with this girl named Vicky. She's like the crazy friend of Heather, and Finch pays Vicky to spread like all these rumors about how he's been getting with all these older girls, all these older ladies, and even these ladies that are married and stuff like that, and the word spreads really quickly. So because Finch was able to show like he spread these rumors that he got all these women, he was able to attract he was able to attract a married woman to having an affair with him, bro. And so if we are able to demonstrate that we have high levels of pre-selection and abundant options and abundant experience, then we're gonna get with these higher quality women. So the moral of this video is to not change our standards to fit in with our friends, because when they chose to stick to their own standards, that's when the women started getting attracted to them. And that's all I got for this video. Goodbye.